So my current project is this little rolling stand that I made out of scraps because after reorganizing my garage, I have this wooden table that I found that somebody was throwing out, and it's hard to see under there, but those are a bunch of 6 to 8 inch across logs that I'm drying to hopefully make jewelry boxes at some point. And needless to say, since they are green, hence the, there's still leaves that are growing on one of the branches which I have to take off at some point, or maybe that'll be my indicator of, hey, it's finally drying out. But needless to say, getting them in and out of that location is kind of a pain because they are heavy and it's in behind way too much stuff. So since I had a bunch of scraps laying around, I figured I would try and make a little cart to set them on lengthwise, and that can then roll back underneath the table, and then at least theoretically they'll be slightly easier to move around. So basically what I did is I had this piece of MDF that was left over from something I got at the reuse store. I got a filing cabinet that I made into a dresser, a 2-drawer dresser, because it had the full extension drawer slides, and nice and heavy duty, so I didn't have to worry about it falling over. But I had this extra piece and just some pieces of scrap plywood and some pieces of scrap 2x4. So assuming this lifts up correctly and does not fall over, I just put some old wheels on it. They're not great wheels. I mean, they're decent, but not super high weight or anything else. But then again, it's not going to be a super high weight on there. And I just put 1.5 inch, 1/4 inch lag screws up through. So I drilled up through here, up into the plywood, or actually through the plywood, and then with the same size bit that the shaft of the lag screws are, and screwed them up in. And I also put some just regular screws to hold it onto the plywood while I was doing that. So this should be held onto the top just fine. And then for the actual attachment, I just used some pocket screws to go down from the 2x4 into the plywood. I think it'll work. I'm going to try it here in a second, assuming that the camera lets me shift that. It should. This one did that before, so theoretically, if this works, the next time you see the video start up in a few seconds, there will actually be contents. Alright, I have all of the logs, 1, 2, 3, 4, that were initially under here. I have one of the original Chinese elm that I had gotten years ago, and I have some dried, oh no, there's one. Let's see, we'll go this way. This piece and this piece I got from when they were trimming trees a while back. I'm not sure what it is, but, and it is cracking and checking, but so did the Chinese elm. And then I also have some firewood chunks of oak on there, and of course the plane's going over. I don't know if that'll come on, but the chunks of oak and things, I figured, well, why not? We'll try it for carving at some point. But in any case, now it's to see if that one under there, I think it, let's see if I'm right. And I was right, it actually fits. Because this one piece that you can see there, the second one in, is a tad bit longer than between the legs, I have to put it in an angle and work it in, but that worked. And that puts all that wood, carving and otherwise, on wheels, so that makes it much easier to move, because all total that's quite a bit of weight. So yeah, that gets that out of the way. And one thing I did not do a video on, and with the sunlight I really don't know if it's gonna come out correctly, but I have 2 other carts, just Harbor Freight Home Depot type dollies. This is a bunch of vertical pieces. That's a stand with a box that has a little bunch of small things. I eventually have to make a new cart for on the right. I just didn't get that far, but basically this is a set of verticals. Let's see if this will zoom in. So there's a 2x4 base going back, you can see, and then a 2x4 going, oh no. So there's, when we redid our kitchen years and years and years ago, we had an extra piece of particle board that was 30 inches by 95 inches that was supposed to go next to the fridge. When we got the kitchen all sorted, that didn't fit like we had planned, so we had it extra. So I just had that laying around. But recently, a friend from down the street was very helpful in helping me cut it up. So I now have 4, you can kind of see, 4 7.5 inch by 57 or so inches, I think it was, long, and then 4 pieces like you can see under here, and there's another plane. The joys of living by an airport. So I have those pieces, so 4 verticals with 2x4s in the back. I have a piece like this that's 7.5 inches by however long that is. I think that's 36 inches wide, or 38 inches wide, maybe 38 inches wide. So there's one piece there, one piece that goes along the back, one piece you can sort of, well, I can see it down the middle. I don't know that anyone else will be able to see it down the middle, but back in behind there, if the garage door wasn't open, you'd be able to see it. Oh wait, here we go. Theoretically, yeah, there you go. So there's one there, and then there's one way at the bottom that goes across. So there's one bottom, middle, top, front, and then I just have some pieces of plywood across the top. And that way I can have my hot tub lid held up right under the garage door. That wonderful world of lack of space. But that gives me spots for 2 carts to roll in and out for wood. So I now have those, and I now have that, and I am happy that I'm on the way to getting more organized with where I'm putting stuff, and that it's on wheels. That's going to help a huge amount. Yep, so again, project today was this little cart out of scraps, extra wheels, extra plywood, some MDF, and some pocket screws, and now I have that on wheels. That's going to be so much better, because I had that stuff spread out along the front, back under the bench, stuffed under here. Now it's all in one place. That's much better. So anyway, hope that was useful.